What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers have several players that they can look to waive, maybe bring guys in. Right? Lakers obviously have some real needs. I do imagine the Lakers are going to be patient. Right? You don't necessarily need to rush. You don't need to hurry it up. But like you have guys like Cam Reddish who you're probably waiving, Markieff Morris, Shake Milton. Right? Like you got like 3 or 4 guys that you can maybe look to unload, waive, and then bring in a guy or two. The thing is, the longer that they wait, the more likely it is that they can bring in multiple guys. Where like if they say tomorrow they waive Cam Reddish and they bring in Jordan Goodwin, that's probably it, right? But here's the beauty, right? Like you can have Jordan Goodwin finish the rest of the season, right? Because he's allowed to play 50 games and you only got 30 left. So he can, and he didn't play 20 previously, right? So he can literally play every game the rest of the season. And then you could bring him in onto the main roster, and his salary would only be like, $400,000. It might not even be that much at that point, right? Where right now his salary might be like $600,000, right? So again, like that's essentially all the money. Lakers have about $8 million or $800,000 to play with, not $8 million, if only, right? Have about $800,000 to play with, give or take. So you can look to just bring in, and look, maybe the Lakers just see that and just go, okay, that's all we need is a Jordan Goodwin, right? Like, and that's perfect. But Stanley Johnson is lighting it up and playing fantastic on both sides of the basketball and the G League. He makes a ton of sense for this roster. Big, physical, versatile athlete that can defend essentially 1 through 5, right? Like, his three-point shot is supposedly much improved. I mean, the last stint he had was was with the San Antonio Spurs. He shot 45% from three-point range on like 4 attempts, right? So like he's a guy that can make a ton of sense. Between now and the next month or so, you could see maybe somebody ending up getting bought out that maybe makes more sense for the Lakers, right? Regardless, I think that the Lakers are going to be patient, right? I think that the Lakers, because you also don't want to rush, because people might ask, like, okay, well, why don't they just buy out the guys and then you can figure it out from there? Because you might need those bodies, right? Like, get some guys some rest, right? Like, or, say somebody deals with like a little, like, nothing major, knock on wood, but like a little thing where it's like, hey, he's going to miss the next 4 games or something, right? It'd be nice to have those bodies because you never know, right? Better to have them and not need them than need them and not have them, right? Because you waived all these guys and now you got to, you could bring in new guys, but you don't want to have to do it out of desperation. You want to do it because it makes sense. And you've done your due diligence. And you've properly evaluated and vetted guys and done all that stuff, right? Like, so that is ideal for the Lakers. So my guess is what'll happen is Lakers will probably spend the next, 15 games or so, 15, 20 games, really kind of vetting and seeing and process, okay, how do guys look? How are guys playing? How are guys handling it, right? Is Jordan Goodwin, is he being consistent? Or is he starting to kind of hit the deck a little bit, right? Is he starting to fall off a little bit, right? He came out like game busters, but hey, he's starting to cool off, right? Like the defense, the energy, the effort isn't there. I'm not saying that will be the case, but it's something you want to see, right? You want, like, what does he look like 10 games into it, not just 2, right? Like, what does he look like 15 games into it? So my guess that the Lakers are going to do their due diligence. They're going to continue to evaluate, again, guys like Stanley Johnson in the G League, other two-way guys that are out there, right? Also, your centers. How does Jackson Hayes look? Can Jackson Hayes stay healthy and stay out there on the basketball? What if he can't stay out? What if he keeps getting hurt and, again, knock on wood, keeps getting these nagging things? And it's like, man, we might not be able to rely on him come playoff time. You might have to waive him in order to bring a center in because, it's just like, man, we the best ability is availability. Right? And Alex Len, he might be terrible, but like at least he's available, right? Like, again, you don't know what the outcome's going to be. I'm not saying that this will happen. I'm just saying like Lakers need to do their due diligence, do their vetting process before they start making decisions on all these things. Obviously, if a no-brainer becomes available, right? Some guy we just don't see coming becomes available. It's like, okay, that guy makes a world of sense. Go bring that guy in, right? But a guy like Jordan Goodwin, still young enough, we've seen him rebound the ball well, defend well, right? Obviously, whatever offense he can provide, his offense he provide, that's probably the guy that they bring in first. But, who knows what this team looks like, how things shape up. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, right? So you want to, obviously, again, even getting to the playoffs, you don't know what it looks like round 1 through round 3, right? But you want to do and give yourself the best opportunity and the best decisions, like calculated risk, like as possible. Right? You don't want to just like, okay, let's just bring in these two guys and waive these two guys and do all that stuff. And then it's just like, okay, well, no, we actually really needed another center. Right? But now we can't, like, we don't have any more money to spend. Right? And then also, again, Lakers will be patient. So, like, one of the things that the Lakers do pretty much every year, and you may have noticed, is like right before the playoffs, they'll fill that 15th roster spot, right? Like it was like Tristan Thompson, 2 seasons ago or whatever, and his contract was like $100,000, right? Like that's probably what the Lakers will do, because again, if the Lakers just go and bring in Jordan Goodwin, then that's it, right? Like if anything else develops, right, you don't have a way to solve that, but Jordan Goodwin, who again can play the entire season, he can play the rest of the season and play all the games that you need him to play. You can then be patient, let him continue to grow, develop, right? Like why just sign a guy, right? Like if he can play the rest of the season, and yes, you want him to qualify for the playoffs, then you just sign him. But now you could sign him and you could sign somebody else, right? Like I said, maybe it is a Stanley Johnson, maybe it is a Chris Dort. Right? Like, Lakers still have 10 days. I'd still like to see them utilize and properly vet these 10 days. Right? Like, there's still options and flexibility there for the Lakers to start, trying to maximize this team and roster to the best of their ability. You want to see how Alex Len is. I understand. Look, Alex Len was awful. Like, unplayably bad. Right? I get that. But there is also, he just got on the team, hadn't played in like a month, guy that didn't have a bunch of like heavy minutes regardless, came at probably the worst time you could possibly come. I mean, this was like one of the worst games by the Lakers in a long time. Like nobody showed up. Nobody. Right? So you add in that factor, you add in he didn't know the offense schemes, the defense schemes, right? Like again, he was bad, very bad. But what does he look like game 3, 4, 5, right? Good coaching, put him in the right position to have the most success possible. He is a big body. He is physical. Guys are buying in more defensively, and they're not just getting blown by, and he's on an island just getting yammed on all game, right? Like, again, or what if it is something where it's just like, yeah, he's not going to cut it. We need to get another center, right? He's just not good. Unfortunately, he's not what we need. Maybe we need to bring in a Trey Jamison. Right, or maybe we need to bring in, a Mo Bamba or something like that out there. Right, like Lakers need to make sure that they're doing their due diligence and just evaluating. And beauty is you essentially have your guys locked in. You have your guys locked up, right? But even a guy like a Markieff Morris, right? Like how does he look? As just like a vet and locker room guy, right? He's a guy that won a championship, that understands LeBron, right? Like, understands like this team and the organization, what they demand, right? That could be good for this team. Jared Dudley is a great example. Like, could he be our Jared Dudley? Maybe you don't want to get off, right? Maybe it's like, hey, like he's the last guy we need to trade or we need to waive, right? Because he's the guy that's like really, like he's kind of one of the glue pieces. He's one of the pieces that are keeping this team together, right? He's the guy that's rallying the troops and being the vet and just bringing a level of toughness to this team and to this roster, right? Like, Lakers, Rob Pelinka has done an excellent job of being patient. He needs to continue to stay patient. He needs to continue to evaluate and see these things. I really like Jordan Goodwin. I think he deserves to be on this roster. But I'd also like to see more than, 3 games, right? Like, what does he look like 10, 11, 12 games into the season, right? 15 games. And again, he can play the rest of the year, right? Look at, Jamison, right? Like, how is Jamison? Koloko was probably our best player in that Jazz game. He was really good in that Jazz game, right? Do you want to get more looks at him and evaluate him a little more? Maybe you're playing him a couple more minutes, right? Like, and especially if Alex Len can't show up and ball out, right? Like, there's several guys on this team that the Lakers need to kind of get a better sample size. Stanley Johnson, is he just like coming in and just game busters for the beginning, just kick the door in for the beginning, starts to cool off, and it's like, he's really not that guy. He's just, he just had like a nice stretch because whatever, the adrenaline or teams weren't really worried about him or anything like that. Or is it like, no, like, dude, this guy is clearly better than the G League. We need to bring him into the main roster and just give you another 6'8", versatile, 3 and D Wayne, right? Like, these are all things that the Lakers can greatly benefit from. So I do want to see the Lakers be patient. I do want to see them do the due diligence, but they do have like 3-4 guys that they can waive and look to get off of if that right player or that right situation presents itself, right? But do your process for it, right? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think like, yes, be patient, don't need to rush these guys in? Do you think like, no, like, hey, bring Jordan Goodwin on the main roster now, right? Like, who cares? You don't need another guy. You don't need another piece. I mean, my thing is you could always use somebody else, right? Like, if is Stanley Johnson worse than like Markieff Morris right now? Is he worse than, something like Shake Milton right now, right? Like, again, there's certain things needs his size. Like, he, again, would be another guy that would help with small ball and things like that. But let me know how you feel down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.